they give him a little more than that.
Like a welcome everyone here tonight. I don't think we got any county commissioners, so that we'll get away with that. And next thing, we'll turn it over to Mr. Lewis. He's gonna do our prayer and our prayer list.
Our prayer requests tonight are, would everybody remember, Jude McCaleb, Deanna Shoulders, Courtney Taylor. Is there anyone else? Unspoken?
The family of Janet Sanders.
Family of James Sanders.
She passed away.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else?
Remember, I'll go back to the doctor Thursday about my cancer.
Joe?
Yep.
All right.
Randy's sick this evening.
Yeah, we want to remember Randy's out sick today, so remember him. Anyone else? Mr. Apple, you have a request?
I think Trey's mother.
Okay, Trey's mother.
Trey's saying.
Trey's mother. Okay, all right, all right. No one else? Okay, let's pray. Father, we're grateful to you for this beautiful day that you've given us and let us enjoy. We would ask that these that have been brought before you that need healing, that you would hear our prayer requests for them, as well as those that we're not aware of, for you know all things and you know everyone's needs. Father, we'd ask for you to guide us through this meeting, that the things that we say and do would be done in a way that's pleasing to you and upbuilding your cause and representing the children and the employees of our school system here in this county. Father, we'd ask you to forgive us where we fail you, because we know that we make mistakes every single day, and we appreciate your forgiveness for that, and we appreciate your Son, Jesus Christ, and the sacrifice that he made for all of us. For these things we're humbly grateful, and we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I hope everybody's looked at your board packet. The first item on the agenda is consent items for board meeting July the 18th, June the 18th and July the 9th. Do I have a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Superintendent actions, any of those that you would like to pull out and discuss? If not, we will go on to new business, discussion of a possible appointee for legal representation for the Smith County Board of Education. I'll open this open for discussion. We have Ms. Moore here appointed right now for our legal counsel. We need to decide on, are we going to keep her? Are we going to look somewhere else? We need to do something, but we don't need to keep her hung out.
Right.
You know, knowing that, you know, right now she's our legal counsel, and I know that's not a light job. It's a whole lot of phone calls and a whole lot of meetings. So if we're going to keep her as our full-time lawyer, we need to get it on the record. We need to get a motion and second, get it on the record.
Can I get a point of clarification, sir?
Yes, sir.
And you, the director one, kind of clear me up just a little bit, if you don't mind. We had 3 that interviewed?
That's correct.
Three people. And we've got how many showing interest? We've got 1 here.
We've got 1 here, but all 3 of these people are very interested, so I want to make that clear.
Okay. But the other 2 are not present. I know that somebody else had something to say.
Yeah, I think, I like Ms. Moore. I like to have a local person that I can stop by and talk to, or I can pick up the phone that knows me by my name that will talk to me and give me advice. Now, I know the little clock starts ticking when she does, but that's all right. But anyway, I like to have somebody local. Now, don't get me wrong, the other two attorneys, and listen, Mr. Cagle was very impressive. But there's a couple things you have to look at right here. Mr. Cagle knows school law, he knows government law. I mean, he's sharp. But I don't know if we need that just to be the board attorney. And I like to have a local person, because if we got into a lawsuit or we got into a situation where we needed more legal counsel, we reach out to all other attorneys anyway. I mean, Cagle's represented this board before, years ago. That's who my daddy-in-law always used. And of course, we used Mr. Holloman and that one. And so, I mean, she'll probably tell you right now, she's not an expert in education law. So she would be more than welcome to bring in a Holloman or a Chuck Cagle or somebody to help if we get in trouble. And we always have that option to fall back on. Now, like I said, I always like the local person, because I think they're easier to get to and get a hold of. And that's my view and take on this.
Could I just make a suggestion? What if you could have both worlds and do it in a way that it's probably not gonna cost us? I've talked to Ms. Moore already. I also talked to Mr. Cagle today, because I've had some people that follow this, and kind of put it in my mind, we kind of put some stuff together. I kind of Chuck something to you. Chuck said, you know what? He said, I was driving home the other night and we're thinking along the same lines. He said he wouldn't even charge a retainer if we were in, to make sure we were doing the right thing with 81 Act. Rob would be the first day we worked today for how long, and talked about we needed his help. He said he would love to train and mentor Miss Moore at her discretion. He would be there. He said it would save y'all me having to drive in, 2.5 hours for school board meeting. If we didn't need him, she would be here. If it's something that she's adept at, but comfortable with, she's here. We'd use her every time that we could, but then he would be her, he wanted to make sure, and I say that he would be her sped attorney, which I thought there, that's not my decision, I understand that. But I've been a special ed director, Chuck Cagle, very well thought of as special ed law. Robert would be the first to tell you, that's who she would call. I would say, her or the young man that was in here, he's good too, Mr. Bennett. But Chuck's very well known across the nation, okay? He's very adept with the 81 Act to keep us out of trouble with that. You would have both worlds, and I even asked him what his retainer fee would be. He said, I wouldn't charge you a retainer. You don't use me, don't owe nothing.
Okay. Would you entertain a motion?
No, he's just telling us what.
No, I can't vote. No, I'm just asking.
No, I'm saying.
If you got any more questions, I'll try to answer what
Yeah.
I asked him or what he told me. And Ms. Moore, I guess you can speak freely too, if she's.
I just want to reassure the board, I will work with whoever you need me to work with at any time. I have no problem with that. I don't know everything there is to know, no attorney does. And certainly if I felt like that there was an area where I needed some assistance or y'all needed clarification beyond what I'm able to provide, I'm happy to reach out to Mr. Cagle. He has an excellent reputation, certainly a professional in his field, and I'd be honored to work with him.
If y'all let me, I'm gonna make a motion. If it gets a second, then we'll discuss it out. And if it passes, it does. If it don't, it don't. But here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna make a motion that we retain Mrs. Moore and Mr. Cagle. Since I've been on this board, we've had two attorneys. Both those attorneys had different skill sets, I believe. Is that accurate, Ms. Moore?
And John, can I clear something up too? Just, you're not paying double.
No, he's not.
You just pay Mr. Cagle as you
And
need.
when they would be teamed up would be when Robin would have somebody with her anyway. But it'd just be, he'd be our school, and I'll be shocked, I was very shocked. It's what he wanted to do. He said, that's actually what I thought about going home with, and I presented to y'all.
Well, in making that motion, I feel the same way that you do, Tom. I think that we need a local person. Without doubt. There's days that the director of school needs to speak to somebody like John Thinking. There's days that you or I talked to her this afternoon on my way back. But, you know, the other gentleman does a walking encyclopedia in many arenas, and he's not going to charge us anything. We've had two attorneys since I've been on this board, and both of them have specific skill sets. He's not going to charge us anything unless we call him, so I'm going to make a motion that we retain her and him under the circumstances that he's presented, that he will vote with us.
Second.
Now, we need to clarify this, that we are not paying him a retainer fee.
Right, so
Uh,
Miss Moore will be our primary
We're not paying
board attorney.
Robin
Yeah.
you know, retainer fee.
Yeah.
We are basically hiring her to be our lawyer. And if she has a question at any point in time, as far as I see it, is she has the right to pick up the phone and call Chuck Taylor. If she's not comfortable with what she's reading or
Absolutely.
doesn't understand it exactly right, she has the authority to go ahead and pick a phone call.
Yeah, and I agree with that, Mr. Shoulder, because Barry's right, this 1981 Act, we kind of don't know, do know, don't know what's
We
going to
want it the
transpire.
right way.
And we want to be honest and
Robin and I
transparent.
both today learned there's a whole lot we don't know, and we don't want to mess it up. We want to do it the right way. And he's, he probably helped write those laws. And I think, again, I was kind of shocked that he didn't want to return actually over Chuck. It would save money, like him not having to drive in and that kind of things on the minimal stuff. Not that he said he's smarter or either one or the other, but, and I don't know, I think, you know, he could hire them both, or the way he does it, y'all would provide the duties. In other words, you're not gonna have two attorneys you're paying.
Right.
He would do things he felt comfortable with, Tom did things she felt comfortable with.
If he's willing to do that, and she's happy with it and all that, and it's not costing anybody anything else,
But she has the authority that if she's got something,
Calls.
that he picks up the phone and calls her in the middle of the night and says, hey, this just happened, blah, blah, blah. And she'll say, well, I'm not really comfortable giving you this answer because that's not really my field that this particular item happened.
Or some days they might have to work together.
Yeah,
Like
and-
Tommy said, she'd be a local and understand, and his expertise in an area,
Right.
maybe, or, you know,
And then she picks up the phone, she don't have to come and.
Ask
you know,
for us,
call
you
her
just pick up
Smith,
phone
She don't have to
call
do
Chuck.
this, she don't have to do that, she just pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, I got this problem, I need help. You know,
I mean, neither one of them are here, but you had a relationship with them. We did in the spring. I'm satisfied that's what Mr. Bud and Mr. Wakefield did.
Go to
We're
your
talking about the same thing.
school gas bid. Go to your gasoline bid and see if it's upside down.
You know, they both would be here representing.
Mine's upside down.
Mr. Bell and Mr. Winklevoss would
Since I've been here,
be.
we've had
And
to.
I don't have, you know, I don't have any problems, because I have enough confidence in her. If she's not confident in what she's telling us, that she'll pick the phone and call him. But I just want to make it clear that she doesn't have to get his permission every time to pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, I'm not comfortable about
That's
this.
what we're hiring.
And that's what she's
and to
hired.
give a couple examples, I was especially a director, and very rarely when Jamie, I might ask him a day-to-day question, but he would even be the first to say, you need to call so-and-so, Rob Wheeler or Chuck. Well, we bring the second one wrong in, we just like the lawsuit was in the county, we brought in a second attorney for his expertise. That's pretty common in the law field anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
It just be that we name on both our school board attorneys, and we can use either one, but we try to divide that in a way.
Any more questions? We got a motion and a second. Is there any more discussions? If not, we're gonna have a vote on this. All in favor? Opposed?
Yes, spending money, we would not want roll call.
Well, we can. We can do that. That's not a problem. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. absent. Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
Thank you, Jim.
We officially have an attorney.
Thank you.
Next thing is discussion and review of policy 6.20 for attendance of non-resident students.
That page is straight.
And tuition for non-resident students. Okay, tuition and non-residential. I'm gonna bring this, let Mr. Smith explain this. I think there was some confusion during the vote last time, so.
Guys, I received phone calls from board members about the vote. I think there's some confusion on, I should not ask the question, go back to what we voted in, the policy, and what I think the majority of the board voted on was two different things.
It was.
So we're gonna get clear tonight, you know, somebody wants to make a motion on what they're wanting to say, they can go from there, or if they want to stay with the policy, but what we voted on, but not changed, it's different than what we thought as a group collectively you voted on, I think. So I just want to make sure we get that cleaned up.
I did some research on this. When I seen this back on the board package, I kind of fumed a little bit, but I got doing some research on it. You're required by the state of Tennessee, by the code, we have to, the state makes you put in a non-residential fee for students, the way I understood this. Now, we all, and I did too on the last board meeting, I thought was opening the borders up. This does not open your borders up. This is a policy that you have to set. You have to have this fee there in case you do decide to open the borders up and bring people in. Then you know, but this is what it's gonna cost. This is basic, we gotta do this, I think, to satisfy policy. Now, by doing this, it don't mean we're opening our borders up. The way I took it after I researched this.
I think you can do that, or I think you can have a policy where you take no students outside. I think that's up to your.
I looked for that policy and I didn't find us having a policy. I know back in the 90s, they closed the borders. I know because my father-in-law was the one, and Ricky, he was on the board then. Because, you know, getting ready for a building program, couldn't ask, and so they closed the border. But I don't think there was ever a policy established saying that the borders were closed. And then the state, back in the early 2000s, I believe, made the county, if you look, this policy, I think was 2005. I probably just come on the board at that time when this policy was done. And if you look up your Tennessee Code of Ordinance at the bottom of that right there and do some research on that, it is required by the law in Tennessee that each county has a set policy of what you're gonna charge, and it tells you what you can charge. You can only charge X amount of the county money, and then if it's out of state, you get to charge federal, I think, of the X amount of money, kind of what we got in here. And it's up to the discretion of the director of schools.
To do what?
If we had an open door policy, it'd be up to him to allow the students to come in. Now, what's probably gonna have to happen is, we might, like Barry said, might have to set a policy where it's up to the board to open the borders or close the borders.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
In the last, when we took this vote, we voted on whether or not we were open or closed the borders. I mean, I know that was exactly what I voted on and exactly what I said.
That's
So,
what I voted.
as far as I'm concerned, and Madam Attorney, that vote passed, so we've already voted to close the borders. Now, if we need to vote this in addition for another reason, I'm okay with that, but I am still, my position as far as to keep the borders closed, I've changed, and again, I will say why. We are constantly being told of overcrowding issues in our schools. We've spent $200,000 for a study to expand our schools or build. We're going to have to, at some point, go to the county commission and say, we're going to build schools, we're going to do whatever. And I'm just not comfortable, again, we voted on it and it passed, so I don't know whether that makes it policy or not, but we passed the vote. But I can't ethically, I don't feel comfortable backing off of that. Now, this is a different thing that you're talking about, but I'm still pretty solid right there, because if we know we already have a problem and we had those people in here showing us Gordonsville over there, I thought I was going to stroke when they presented that, what kind of shape Gordonsville was about to be in. So no, if we voted as far as closing borders and it passed, now if we need to vote on this right here to make a policy, I'm okay with that, but I just want everybody to understand my feelings. I'm not involved with that, because we're already, in capacity. I mean, you remember when the mayor was over here and we looked at all this stuff. Gorsville can't tolerate that, and some of these elementary schools can't tolerate open
Right.
borders. So, I mean, I'm okay with this policy, but if we vote about borders tonight, I'm still against that.
Scotty, I think that's not, all right, I think that's the issue. The language, regardless of which way you guys go with it, need to be cleaned up so that you're understanding it. And I'll let Bob explain more, because we didn't change it. I think y'all, as a majority, voted to close the borders,
We
okay?
did.
But I don't think, when you look back, that's not what policy reads.
Well, the policy reason where the problem is and the confusion is that at the beginning of it, it says students residing outside the boundaries of the school district may attend schools within the district under the following conditions. And so you've got a permissive policy right now that says that they may, and you have to set what that would be. And there was a suggestion last month in what that tuition cost would be. So you have a permissive policy right now that says that they may do those things. You know, and if you're not going to allow them to do that, then I think you need to pass a policy that says that. But that's not what this current policy says. And I think that's where some of the confusion was because your policy says that they may do that. And I think people were relying on that and wanting to know what that tuition amount was going to be. And then you all voted, which, you know, to not allow that. So you need to clean it up. It's a policy issue. If you're not going to allow it, then
And if you maintain this policy, we need to.
you got to set a tuition.
If we don't, we need to make close it and know what you.
I don't think you can void this policy.
Well, I haven't researched the TCA on this specific issue, but I don't know without looking in depth. If y'all want to table it, I can look at it for a minute.
Now, my understanding wasn't what everybody else is saying. I had a totally different understanding of what was going on. I had read this, and to me, it said that we already had this open door policy. All we had to do was board and set the tuition rate.
Right.
And then before we was done with our last meeting, it was pretty confusing. That it was, and of course, the motion that was made is not what we voted, so it would be irrelevant. Because the motion that was made was setting the tuition rate, it wasn't closing the borders. So all we did was not set the rate that this asked for,
That's
that
right.
this policy asked for.
So may I ask you a question? Based on what this policy right here says, and based on what you're saying, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're telling me this is the law and we don't have a choice whether we close our border or not?
No, that ain't what I'm saying.
I'm not sure it's.
No, it's not a law saying you can open or close your border, but I think according to the Tennessee Code of Norman, the state of Tennessee requires you to put in a fee
If we decide.
if you decide. That's the if you decide you was gonna open up
And I
your
thought
border.
all
But
that was cleaned up.
this is your policies, and there isn't
That's what I'm saying, I think they need to either understand this and set a fee, or they need to decide that it's a group, you want to.
Or we could table this and let her research this and see if we actually do have to have this policy or not. We can
say
void
this,
this policy.
just a suggestion, and you tell me different. I think you need to do opinion, because you've got kids right now wanting to enroll. That's the problem, unless we have a special copy.
Well, the board's already spoken that we're not wanting to open up a border, so there can't be no kids coming in here.
But you have a conflicting policy, that's the problem.
Well, when did that policy change? Though? I
Well-
think that was set back years ago.
You're the superintendent, he's the principal up here at the high school. What do y'all want? What do y'all say we need to do?
Can I speak?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I simply, maybe I misunderstand, but I thought I had a really good handle on that policy right there. I read it, I looked it up. It plainly states to me that the Smith County Board of Education policy is that kids that don't live in this county can attend here. They have to jump through a couple of hoops. Number one, and most important, they have to meet with Mr. Smith and get his approval.
And that is the
If he
policy.
approves, then I have to tell them how much it costs. So operating under that policy, I put my name on the line, and I have told parents, yes, you can come here. My board allows it. Because that's what that policy says in my mind. You can correct that in any way you want to, but that's the policy I was operating under. So I currently have students who are enrolled who I then spoke to Mr. Smith, because that policy requires a 30-day notice before school starts, so these people enrolled in May. I allowed them to come up there, they brought the policy, they printed it off your website, brought it and said, this is allowed, and I said, absolutely it is. They did the paperwork to enroll, and then I contacted Mr. Smith, and I said, I need you to look at these students, I have some that want to attend under your policy, they want to know how much it costs, I need to give them a price. Somehow in the midst of finding out what that price was, I was then told, y'all don't allow anybody to come here, and now I've operated under your policy and told them they could.
May I ask you a question?
And in good faith, I've told people this, and they've made life-changing decisions in their family based upon a policy that they believe you have. And I would like for us to follow that up to the moment you change it, whether that be in 5 minutes or 5 days. Just don't make me backtrack and take away what I told someone in good faith. Yes, sir.
Now, how many of those people that enrolled up here, what percentage of them are enrolling here to play sports?
I don't-
That's not what I'm supporting this education system for.
I don't know how many of them
50% of
do
it?
play sports. I would say
Yeah, play
half,
sports.
but that's about what my student body is.
This right here, and I'm just going, and then I'm going to say this, I'm going to finish, I think, probably not. It's starting to smell like people wanting to come in here and play sports. And we already know, I don't know how many times I've said this, but we've had this presented to us of how devastating we're overpopulated we are right now. Now, if we have to clean up this policy or whatever, I'm all in favor of that. But I cannot ethically, I cannot go along with that, fellas, just so somebody can play ball in Smith County when we've got overcrowding in classrooms right now. We already know we want to go to county commission and ask for money to build schools because somebody can play ball. That's not education has to come first. That's not about sports, but how do you justify that? I can't justify that. Joe, somebody, anybody? I can't. So we need to clean this up somehow or another, but we've obviously put him in a place that he said that maybe 50% of the ones that will come here is trying to play ball.
What would be that total? How many students, Mr. Apple, have you seen that's applied for enrollment this fall under the?
We occasionally come across students that we hear or catch when may not live in our county. They've signed up, they have to give us a Smith County address. We learn something about that. Currently, what I've done researching this for the last couple of months is I believe I have about 4, maybe 5 students. And most of them lived in this county and might have moved. And I think some of them, the question was, the home is in Jackson County. None of them live more than a touching county away, in other words, but they have a farm that's kind of lays in both. Bus route, the house is in one, it's in the other. I don't know exactly. I haven't gone to their homes. I simply educate the ones that come in. And I don't care if you change the policy. I want to make it clear, this is not my policy. I do not care what your policy is on this, and I don't have a recommendation for it. I'm just telling you I'm operating under the policy you currently have as I stand here and speak. If you change it, that's fine, but I've been operating under that policy. And to me, it clearly...
You do a good job.
Well, I'm just saying that to me, it clearly states they can come, you need to ask Mr. Smith, you need to tell them how much they charge, and we roll. And some of these people have said before, and I don't know if this changes anything, if we couldn't do this, we're just gonna move that.
Well, I got a question for you. Is, obviously, if there's 4 or 5 this year, has there not been any in the past since 2005?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been teaching in Smith County, I think this may be my 23rd or 4th year. I have been aware of students that didn't live our county that went to our schools that entire time. Of course, we've had a policy that has allowed teachers to bring, employees to bring their students from other counties, but there's always been some. I was telling someone the other day, Mose Woodard drove my bus to Forks River, and we went into Putnam County and got Tracy Buchanan and her family every day and did it forever. My mother attended here and lived in Jackson County. Albert Stanton picked her up, brought her to school. That's been going on, that was in the 1960s. So
Now, I won't clarify something said there. I don't have a problem with an employee that lives outside this county bringing their child to come to school here. I have zero problem with that.
When this policy become effective, the reason I'm asking is in 2002, how do you say his name?
Mr. Painter he moved to Tanglewood. Mr. Painter, Grayson's dad,
Okay.
moved to Tanglewood. They moved to Tanglewood so Grayson could play on the golf team there. And that was the only way he could play on the golf team if they had an address in Smith County. So as he graduated, they moved back to Hartsville.
This policy was effective, it looks like, in 2005.
2005 and then reissued in 2022.
This was in
That's about the time I came
2000.
on.
This was approximately 2002.
That would have been about 2002 through 4 that Mr. Painter was here. A lot of people do that. They move to avoid paying the tuition. See, if they move across that county line now, they don't need to know the price. They go to go.
I don't think Bill had no trouble paying tuition. He bought a house.
I don't have any.
So this would be less than 1% of our students. It would equal less than 1% of our current students if you allow these 4 or 5 to come in this, as you've said.
Yes, and I just want to make clear, I have allowed them up to the point of Mr. Smith approving them. I've told them they can come. Because, like I say, this policy, in my belief, said they could. I just was simply requesting, how much money do I need to tell their parents to pay?
Well, I mean, that's not, Marty, that's, you're talking about less than 1%, but you're talking about less than 1% at one school. How many other schools is this gonna impact?
And then how many more wants to come?
Director, how many do you think that impact?
There's several sides to this game. One student could cost you a teacher if the split get right, okay? But I coached, I won't get in here, all right? It's a compliment to the program. It's a compliment to the county that you got people wanting to come in. I could see down the road that, our test scores are great. We got a great sped program. We got great sports programs. People are going to want to come here, okay? There's 2 things in hand, either keep it like it is and set a tuition, or change the policy if it's legal. And that's where you're at. I would either start it, the people, if we had this year's freshman class already in, I started this year, shut it down, or start it next year.
I think along those lines, one of my requests would be, just to let you know, I would appreciate anyone we currently have enrolled, we grandfathered them. If you change it July 16th, just let me, anybody that's on the books today, because they've already worked.
Well, I would start it next year or shut it completely out.
I agree with Mr. Apple.
Yeah.
That,
The one
that
that's here.
situation, but now we've got, now listen, $2,500, $3,000 tuition, that's fine. But special needs child coming in here, that's $50,000. And you can't stop it. That's my only thing about it, you can't stop it.
It's been open since 2005.
Yeah, I know, but it shouldn't have been. But I will agree with what Mr. Apple, I agree with that 100%. Grandfather in like now, but we're gonna have to, it's gotta be changed.
Robert, I had
In theory,
I had a board member ask me this privately, and I don't know, but the question was made, that puts a lot of pressure on you, which I do those, that didn't bother me, but they were worried about discriminatory. What if you turn somebody down, even, let's just throw it out there, let's say we got a drug dealer, and we turn this young man or woman down, and you say, well, you let this and this and this, and then how do you, that was the issue this board member had legally.
Well, the other issue is, you could get somebody who's been dismissed from another school system, zero tolerance issues or things like that, which you have the zero tolerance policy and all that. But, those are considerations that you have to have, and certainly if you're gonna, Mr. Shoulders is correct. You could end up with a student whose needs are far exceed, the cost of the tuition. And so I don't think you need to.
Being a former special education, I'm not gonna tell a special needs kid for sure they can't come in here.
That's exactly
based on
right.
that.
Yeah, you're right.
It puts me in a no-win, in the school system, but,
Put you in a lawsuit.
Yeah, absolutely.
but I don't think, tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think either way the board's telling people they don't want to come to Smith County, they just want to live here. Right? Wrong.
You can come.
Would you say,
Driver, either side you're on this, you're not saying don't come, you just, even the ones that don't say move here, pay taxes here.
Correct.
you can't have a P.O. box only, you'd have to have residents here? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm hearing, even the other side, you're not saying don't come to Smith County, you just live here.
He's asking.
Yes, that's what I'm asking, not only just have a P.O. box and live in Wilson County, and your kid be
Well,
here.
we send out, now listen, we send out, if we get wind that Romney's got a P.O. box, Misty and Amanda, or Misty and Jared starts investigating, and we've sent some this year back to other counties. That they put down their neighbor's address, they put down the living room, and we'd investigate, they weren't staying there, and we'd send them home. And we do have very few, but we've got former employees. I've not asked somebody that's been a Smith County native for 8 years and they move or make them back to work here. You know, we've not made those moves. They've lived here, been here the whole time. But, you know, somebody's trying to beat the system. We do let our employees come, which even if they live in the county, I think we should, regardless.
I agree.
So if a student lived within, let's just make an example, he was within a mile of the county, and he's closer to Smith County than he is Jackson County, would it be a disservice to send that kid to Jackson County when he could just be here? And why couldn't we?
But those ain't our law. We've got a kid comes to mind right now, a kid that lived here, went to school here his whole life. His parents got a farm right outside. We let that young man or woman stay for that reason. And we're actually hoping that one of the parents will come back to work in the school system, but there's Smith County people. But it was unfair, and the kid already in high school to ask him to move. We tried to use some discretion on that, you know.
I just wonder when all this changed. Well, I mean,
Yeah, that's what we.
I think you-
We already had a policy.
Yeah. Like I said, I come on the board in 2004, and after looking at this date, I think I kind of remember this policy. I think when you go back and research this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what research I've done on it, I think you have to have this in place, this policy in place, just in case you did open them. It don't mean you're opening them, but I think you have to have this according to the Tennessee Code or not, that you got to. So I did some research on this, and what's usually being is, the director works for us. Don't open these borders, don't bring no people, kids in here. Now, do we have a policy stating that? No, I searched it here. We do not have a policy saying the Smith County Board of Education will deem whether we open the borders or not, we'll vote on it, whatever. We don't have that policy, it's not there. I know it changed, I know it's changed in the 90s, I know it did.
it changed that, and especially if you had, and I've said that before, if you had 5 kids, and 2 of them were going to Smith County, and you lived in Jackson or Macon, those other 3 didn't come to this county after we made that policy. Those 2 that were
In the school
going
system,
grandfathered on in because they were over here, but those other 3 didn't come here, and you had a family, part of going one direction or another, but we made that back then, and I just don't know when it changed.
And I think if you look up the code, in Tennessee Code, it also talks about owning land in 2 different counties. If the county splits your land, whether or not your residents own which side or not, you pay taxes on both sides.
We've had a-
So
we've had
that
a
person
law.
gets to
We've had a
choose
law.
which way they want to
Our
go.
law states that, like what you're saying, if you know your residents in Jackson County, if that farm, like
Yep.
we call it the electric fence,
Yep.
if that farm runs in, touches, even if you don't pay, if it touches the line, that's always been the law. If you
Yep.
touch the line, you're legal.
Yeah, I believe if you look up the code, which I did yesterday afternoon, I seen that in there too. So this, saying we have to do away with this, I don't know if we can do away with this policy is what we're gonna have to look and see.
I'll figure that out, but
I
I think in the meantime, you've got to study to
And I was going to call our school board attorney at the Tennessee School Board Association, Ben Torres, but the time I was researching this, I'm pretty sure he'd already gone home. And I didn't call him today because I really,
Well, does the first bullet point, I mean, first bullet point says they shall be approved by the director of school.
Correct, that's the
Mhm.
key.
But
Put
that
him in
night,
the hot seat.
that night, we cut pretty sharp every once in a while, you know, somebody accused him of some kind of discrimination or this, that, or the other, unless we've got a policy, language policy in place. You know, somebody accused him of anything.
And some of our policies, guys, if you go back and look at some of our policies, it's just one-liners. So we want to make a policy that the Smith County Board of Education will not open or will open, we vote on it, to close the border. We can just have a one-line policy at it. I don't know what you call it, but we can vote on it. And yes, we open them, or no, we don't. If the place closed, it can just stay right here like it is.
Did they vote, make a motion, vote either way they want to, but, and then we research and come back and say that's not legal, or that is legal, or?
Yes, we could do that, but I mean, I think what Mr. Apple needs is a commission.
That's the reason I think if you vote it down,
I'm just saying, school starts in about 3 weeks. And 30 days ago, I told people they could come, provided he approved it. They wanted to know a cost. They've made decisions based upon, we're going to follow your policy, that sort of thing. They'll need to know something.
Well, my next question, did you approve it?
Right, he has not yet, I haven't.
Let me say this, where I disagree with that, regardless of what they do. I mean, I say you make it, but I don't want to get into part of the year. You do it, if I'm going to do it, we either shut it down, or we wait till next year and do it. It's not fair to do.
Well, I mean, if you haven't approved it based on this policy.
It's shut down.
then What he's saying is it moves forward.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm going to have to make a decision if.
However, Ms. Lewis, there are currently students that, before I was principal, and I don't know, they didn't even start at my school. There
I
are
mean, I
currently
don't
students
know.
probably in that situation.
Maybe, but I don't know whether the director of schools approved them either.
I do not know that. I
Me either.
No, no.
But if you're going to do this, then you have to set a tuition too.
So, I would think to clarify this for tonight, be set a tuition. Grandfather in what's here now, what he's already committed and other principals are committed on, grandfather him in. And then let her tear this policy apart and clean it up. And you bring it, let her bring it back to us or vote on how it's clean it up, get it in plain old English and anybody can read.
Well, what would it?
Or maybe have to set a new policy to vote on closing the border.
Well, that's, yeah.
I think that's what he meant.
That's what I mean,
drafting
clean it
the
up.
policy.
Yeah, redoing the policy, clean it up, but at this moment,
I would ask the commissioner forward, if we're gonna do that, to allow me to have that option all year if it gets in, but I don't think it's fair. If it goes in, cut it off now.
Go this year.
Okay. I just was, I'm prepared to go either way. I was just,
Me too, but I'm just saying.
for my namesake, for the name Apple, I've told these people, there's a policy that allows that.
Policies change every day. We
And
can't
and that's fine.
I'm not.
That's why from this day forward, I'm glad we
That's what I coached, I want you to ever get, so I'm not against, I'm just saying, for me, sitting here.
Well, they don't all play sports. Some are, you know.
What about
Me
the ones
sitting here, if we're gonna allow, it's hard to cut it off 2 weeks in, or they told you last week, we're gonna do it. Let's stay with it this year, or next year,
Either way, I
not,
understand.
but I wanna clean it up, you know what I mean?
Well, but let's do something more with Principal Apple. I mean, he's one in here asking right now. And what we've got in writing right now says they'll be approved by the director of schools, but you've not had the opportunity to do yet. And he's sitting here saying he's got X number of days, and you don't get your word to take and come and all that stuff. So I think that's one thing we need to address is if we're gonna do it, then approve it. But we need to clean this language up in here or something awful. It's just my opinion, but all of y'all know where I'm at. I don't have a problem with anybody being grandfather that's already here or whatever, but it's just contradictory.
I'm gonna go back to this. If he promised them, and they checked on it, he has to approve it. But the question is, has it already been approved?
Not to my knowledge. I
Okay,
haven't-
then them people's not coming then. If he's not
Well, but
approved
they-
it, it's-
Correct, but they're, there are other students that I don't know if he has approved or.
Well,
another.
that,
I don't
we
know
have to
that.
grab, the others in the past.
Yes.
But you're gonna have to address tonight, though, what I'm saying, if we're gonna allow these students in, you've got to set a tuition rate.
And I should say that according to the policy you have, there's a 30-day mandatory before school starts. So anyone that hasn't done it by now can't. The only ones I have are the ones that were in April before school is out. I haven't accepted any since past June 30th because I wouldn't. It would be outside of the policy. So there's nobody there now except the ones I've said there is a policy. And certainly I have not said you've been approved yet. But I have told them there absolutely is a policy where you can come. We'd love to have you, shake their hand, that sort of thing. Whether or not he ends up approving them, I do not know. But they just want to know, we're wanting to come. If he says yes, what's the cost?
No, I was just wondering about Lawrenceville. Has he accepted any kids or the other schools? I mean, do we know how many kids?
To my knowledge, if there was a, can't remember if those
Just
were in high school,
one
two. Can't divulge a lot of
I did
that.
check and see if there were other principals, and I do not have
Were they
those
two
numbers.
non-athletic?
But I do know that there were some, at least in the past, at the other high school.
Can
And
you
I-
answer this, Coach, were they two non-athletes in a restricted situation?
these were not. The two I knew of at the other school were not. They were athletes. The one that I know went to school with my son at one point. Now, this is just knowledge I had of being living in the community. They were just a young child from Forest River. I don't know.
Forest River person, that seems to.
Whatever they do in out there. I
What's the
don't know.
problem with it this year? And then go back and
What I'm
visit it.
thinking this year,
Visit it.
visit it
Ronnie,
next year.
what do you think we need to do?
Well, I do think that we've got to address this policy. I think you've got some decisions to make. I think that you need to decide what, whether or not, first of all, you're going to allow the students that Mr. Apple has allowed to enroll based on your policy, if you're going to honor that. And then if you are, you have to set a tuition because your policy says you will. And then third, I think the next thing would be to address and have me look to see if this attendance of non-resident students is a required policy, something that the board has to do, and if not, then I would think you all, it sounds like you want me to draft a proposed policy for your consideration perhaps in August.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Now, I apologize, I know everybody just had a long day as well. Who doesn't mean this, who pulled this up from last week? Because I seem to remember Mr. West putting in the paper that we voted to close the board in the last meeting. So I'd like to know what was brought up, and y'all pull that up real quick and see what the question was, what the motion was, what the vote was.
It was in the improvements of the minutes. And this
Mr. Lewis, I believe the vote was on the tuition rate, and you guys voted against setting a tuition rate. That was what was in the agenda, and that's what was put into the minutes, that you voted against setting a tuition.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm disagreeing with you.
I think that's the issue. I think there was a massive misunderstanding on what, as a collectively, what you're voting on.
I mean, if it was, it wasn't just me, Mr. West, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you had an article in the paper said we closed the borders, for sure. So, if it was a misunderstanding, I was not the only one. However, be that as it may, you're saying you got students that won't come, you have not approved them, so as far as I'm concerned, this policy standing here right now, they're outside the scope of that. Because this policy's
Well,
not been created.
I want to,
If he
Can I-
has not approved them, then they're not in compliance with this policy.
so can I ask the director, what's holding you up from keeping you from approving them?
Well, I'll have to hear it on case by case, I would assume.
So I don't think we all jump in here and take that away just tonight. We've got students that's committed, he's obligated them, correct?
Yeah, when I spoke with Mr. Smith the first time, maybe about the time these people showed up, I just said, hey, I need to know what that tuition is. I've got some people that want to come. That's where our kind of discussion was. I was under the impression, he can speak for himself, he's sitting up there, I was under the impression that he would be okay with it. I didn't tell them anything. You can tell them they can't come tomorrow as far as I'm concerned. What I'm saying is that I followed this and let them know that the option was there. And then last week I heard from your board meeting that y'all said they couldn't or that wasn't an option. And I felt that was an error, that what I had read and what I was hearing were two different things. Great here tonight to clear that up, just so I understand when I'm up there with the next group of people that show up, 6.204 and says, your policy says I can come. I need to know if he approves it. That's where I'll be.
So if
Or
we- yeah.
that policy's been changed and policy 6.204B says you cannot come here. Thank you for coming, get off the campus trespassing. Either one. But the reason I was asking was there are people out there who currently go that have gone here for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
I'm not gonna go backwards on you.
That's all I'm asking is the ones that are currently enrolled, I'd like to have them because I've told them that's a possibility you can. I don't want to be misconstrued. I don't want them to feel like I lied to them. Whether I did or not, y'all may make a decision that I did and I mishandled that, that's fine. But just those people that are currently as of today planning on coming, that's what I was asking.
I don't think it's right emotionally or any other way to do a child that way. You're talking about 7, 8 years, whatever else. That's not right. But what I believe we were voting on last month was like right then, moving forward. So I don't know, but we had 2 policies, so I don't know, but either way is going to be cleaned up. This is the training ready.
So, would we go with the advice of our lawyer, of what she said? And vote it that way, plus decide on what kind of tuition we're gonna charge, and go from, in other words, go with what she, in other words, she suggested? Or,
I would have no idea right now what surrounding counties are charged for tuition, they would make that
The
kind of.
law states what you can charge.
It's like $2,600, $2,700 or something.
How much?
Around
Whatever we got
$2,700.
in here. It's so much in the
Right,
county and so much out of
$27,000.
state. The state, Tennessee law dictates that.
What was proposed was 9,600.
That's out of
I
state.
think you could, I mean, I don't think you'd want to charge some crazy number, but I think you could be close to the number that Heather come up with. The difference be about 2,100, you could set it, I think, at 2,200 to 2,500 just to make sure. It's just a suggestion. I don't think it has to be to the penny. And obviously, you don't want to turn into a private school and get 10,000, but you could, but that would, right here, what was that, 2,181, 31? Because you know, it'd probably be some higher than this next year.
Then it's-
Adjust every year.
then the-
What we're reading on the board up there, is that the law because,
It's our last meeting.
yeah, okay.
have to set the number.
I would assume that's a TSB recommendation.
Well, we've got Mr. Butler with the maiden tuition rate. And then it failed. So, I don't, this is the last question I'm gonna ask, I think, maybe, Madam Attorney, do we need 2 policies? Do we need to clean this up, set tuition rate, and if we're not going, or if we need to establish a policy?
I mean, if that's what the board wants to do, I mean,
I'm just saying, if that's what,
I mean, your policy right now says that the board, they shall pay a tuition fee. I mean, that's the policy, so they're gonna have to know what that tuition fee is. So I think you have to set a tuition, for that. And then you all can decide whether you're going to have other people come, later or not. I think it's clear from the discussion that that's not something that the board wants. But according to Mr. Manning, in his research, he thinks that this policy is required. I don't know whether it is or not without doing the research that would be required to answer that question.
My question, as far as me legally, say there's 4 girls, hey, because I won't blanket them, okay? So what kind of issues am I gonna if I say, I don't feel that, just, do I have to have anything to base that on, just to say, or I research and this kid's doing all kind of trouble?
I think those types of questions are best answered in executive
What?
are best answered in executive session.
But why couldn't he say the school board does not want to open their borders, so right now I can't allow you to come in? It is the majority of
If
the
you
school
had
board.
tuition, it would be.
Well, I mean, we voted on, nobody, it went around the table, nobody voted to open these borders up.
That
Why
was an
couldn't he say that
understanding.
the school board that's sitting here right now does not want to order these borders? And I work for the school board, so therefore, I'm not allowing you to come to schools.
He could say that.
That wasn't my understanding of what we was voting on until we had a discussion, and then the motion changed, but it never got made a different motion. It was just a discussion.
That's the reason I'm asking, do we need two different things?
You do have two different things going on.
So I guess we need to first have a motion to decide if we are going to grandfather in what's here now, what Mr. Apple has, the ones that he is talking about. Do we grandfather those in as ones we got now? Then we charge the tuition, make that as one vote, then turn around and set the amount of money we're going to charge. Make it in two separate motions and two separate votes. Because if you don't do the first one, the second one is no reason to vote.
What are we charging the students now that's in the county?
We hadn't had any, you know what I'm saying?
Well, how'd they get in here?
We've not let them in. If they, we have in the past have told some that till this came up, but Scott had this, when this came up, I thought they would overpower, and I apologize to people, I told them they'd over $9,700, $95, or how much ever it was. But finding out that we will still receive tease of money on those kids other than the non-resident local match, and that's what the tuition would be that much or whatever the board decided. But we don't have any that we've let in unless they're here basically, like we said before, that's for some reason they grandfathered in, their parents that started work here or
Something like
you know, unless the board tells me to, I'm not going to ask the kid to spend a month shooting for 8 years, but if they're a mile across the line, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Well, I've got that problem too. We've got, in fact, I know of a child that started defeated in kindergarten. Good kid. He went all through.
I know they lived here.
They lived here in Tanglewood, and a situation came up that they got the child's grandmother and granddaddy, their house, and it's you walk across the fence, and you're in Smith County from where this house is. This child is now in high school. I've got a real problem with jerking him out after he's done been here, 9, 10, 11, soon be about 11 years, and then jerk him out and send him to a different school.
We've had employees that worked here, and there was one last year, the girl was a senior. I didn't think this was that kid to move, you know what I mean?
Well, I could see that situation.
Yeah.
I understand that.
But
But just
otherwise-
walking out here and say, hey, yeah, you wanna come to school? Yeah, do this, come on in.
No,
Never been here
If
before.
we know them, and I'm not saying there's some that don't beat us every now and then, but if we know of it, like I said, we've kicked, every year we end up sending the children home that try to beat it, that put down a false address, we'll find out, we'll check it out, we'll go to Cook, we'll find out where they're staying, or Jackson County, and we'll send them a letter, and we have to end up attorney, usually has to get Bob, and we move them out, get them to court.
So far, we've never really abided or used this policy
We hadn't had,
Hadn't
nobody's
had.
forced their hand to this point, we've
to
had.
this point here.
I apologize for bringing it up 2 months ago, but this is the first student that's walked in since I've been principal. And my thing is, I have a copy of your board policies in my office. I pulled it down, I read it.
Yeah. And
And
it's
I asked, what happened before me, I do not know, but I just simply said, what's the tuition? I got people asking, and that's, I
I'm
think, how
not
this
sure
got
we should
started.
have, not to take away anything from regular schools, micromanage, but from a protective, point of view, maybe, for lack of a better phrase. They shall be approved by the director of schools. What's the problem? So what protects him? You know, what criteria and he denies someone on it, what criteria does he approve someone on? And how do you, if you don't have those two things in there, how do you argue or defend an argument that somebody accuses him personally of being biased? Turning someone down?
We're getting moving on over here a little bit.
You see what I'm saying? That's broad brush, you might put it there. But I guess it's gonna be a lawyer for it, it says for it. The attorney, but
Can I make a suggestion that you all table this until after executive session
Thank
and
you.
then come back
I
and?
wish you would.
You're gonna have to make a decision for him.
Yeah, no, I know that. We'll have to come back in and y'all can vote, but I'd like the opportunity to speak with you and advise you as your attorney
Okay.
out of the,
We'll table this item. We'll go into executive session, come back out and to vote on something. Board meeting date changes. Let's see here. All had a chance to look at it, any problems with changing dates?
Two different options.
Two different options. She's got September the 10th or September the 19th. The original is 17th, so 10th or 19th.
I got no problem on the 10th. We'll pull it up a week.
Any of you,
I ain't got no problem either day.
nobody?
It don't matter.
I'll make a motion to go to the 10th.
Second?
Second.
Second. This one.
I did.
Okay, got a motion second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, next thing is bids approval for janitorial supplies.
that's the easiest thing we've had. I'll make a motion to approve. So.
Got a motion and second. Discussions?
Who is Kelson? I seen Lebanon who's Kelson?
I don't know him personally, I can't get who they are.
Okay.
Well, I got one question. Once this 81 Act comes in, all this goes away, then.
I understand, that's what we're trying to clean up now, yeah.
that was one of our discussions today.
Yeah, we've got to.
So we have no, in other words, once this goes in effect, we have no control over,
We better talk about that in the legal.
okay, we're going to legal, all right.
What are you talking about?
Just keep writing all these things down for executive session. Okay, motion and second, this is money being spent. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yeah.
Mr. McHale?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Oh, wait, oh, there's image, it's back. Bid, for gasoline and diesel. Do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Mr. Apple, second.
Second.
Mr. Jones, discussions? If not, roll call. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McHale?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Transportation request to sell parts. You've all had a chance to look at that one. You have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
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 Second, discussion. If not, we'll do a roll call on that one. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McHale?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. approval of school fees. Do I have a motion on that one?
I'm gonna make a motion.
Okay. Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Open for discussion.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Glover's not here, but I was in contact with him today and a bit. He, you know, for 4 years, he's always lobbied against this. He thinks that the school fees ought to be paid for by the school or the county or something. But correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Smith, or Mr. Apple, if I'm wrong about this. The school sets school fees. And if a kid's not able to pay that school fee, they still get the stuff anyway. The school or the county takes over it. Is that not right? They still get it, right?
If they, my understanding is if they qualify, yes.
Yes, sir. So we're not knocking nobody out of it.
No, it's,
I can tell you no kid at my school will do that. We'll make it happen.
And that's what I feel like is happening in every school. So all the principals say they make it happen. So I just wanted to bring that up for him, you know.
Discussion, more, anybody else?
Mine was the same as his. I've talked to Randy about it. He brings it up every year, wanting us to, and I agree, if we could, but during these times, I don't know if we could right now.
Right. If no more discussion, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. Caleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Man?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Special education with Vanderbilt. Do I have a motion on that one?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussions? No discussion, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. Caleb?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay, Tennessee School Plant Management Association membership dues. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Discussions? Not, this is money, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. Caleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Construction manager approval.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussions? Say.
some of you, was at the building there, and I want to really commend Mr. Dudley. He has saved us millions, and I mean that. You see the bids and the way we were going, and the board allowing us the flexibility to do the way we've done this. Well, he has done not only a fantastic job, but he has saved the systems millions of dollars. And I appreciate it, and I can't say enough, but I want to make sure y'all understand how unselfish he's been in this process. Yep, you kids cool.
I want to piggyback off that too, Travis. Thank you for your help and stepping up to help us, because Travis is, literally, guys, y'all know, he's saved a ton of money here, and appreciate you stepping up and helping us out, Travis.
Appreciate it, Dr. Hughes.
Anything else? Not, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. Caleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay, request permission to purchase equipment. This is a lot of computer stuff that I could go over, but I wouldn't know no more than when I started. And it's just constructions, websites, wiring trainers, just different things. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? Any discussions? Not, Mr. Jones? Yes. Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. Caleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Textbook adoption. Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Second. Discussions? Not, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. Caleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Next thing is the flooring for the wellness centers. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Which option? There's three options here. Is this that option we voted on?
This option right here that I've got in
Right,
my
yeah.
hand is the wood grain vinyl.
Yeah, that's
It should be option one.
option one. Okay.
Option one.
We made a trip Friday, that was a 7-year-old, whatever.
5 to 7.
And it's, I wish we'd really had that option when we had done Union Heights, and I didn't know it existed. It is, I would put it right there with the wood, especially putting the durability probably for PE classes in different sports, maybe better. We went to a church and they wasn't even changing shoes over, you can imagine women in high heels and it.
High heels work okay on that?
It looked fantastic. It didn't even, there's no marks. I mean, she say, that's a 5 year or 7 years.
I think so.
But we couldn't have got over it.
Got a good pad and base there.
This is the same thing that UT volleyball, at UT is replacing on the top of their wood floors. So maybe even something, we think it's something about 230,000, is that over wood?
Yes,
Or
sir.
over, and it was cheaper than the other bigger item.
It was.
That's amazing. I mean,
It's a big site.
And it'd be striped up just like a ball court and whatever too.
yeah,
It'd be-
well, we made it, I want to talk over, I don't, that'd be a sports question, what volleyball's going to do. We don't need to waste the money of boring all the holes and putting all the stripes if they don't want to use it. If they're going to use it, they've been some talk, I don't know about them possibly moving. If I was coaching, I'd have my own gym, or them being their gym. If it is, then we'll do that and maybe take the stripes off.
Right.
One for, but there's no use spending money on the striping and the bowling if they're not going to use it. But I would hope that's, Coach Leslie had some concerns about, he'd seen some kids get knee burns and stuff, but he was talking about a different surface, I think, so I think you'd see him, let him kind of be his, let him put it on as far as whether he wants to move out there or not, if you choose to go this way.
More suggestions, more discussions? Got a motion second, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. Caleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Drywall work for the wellness centers. Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A second. Discussions?
Why is the different price on the Smith County other than the Gorns, Mr. Dudney? You know, see the difference in the price there?
There's probably some more drywall in that building. The Gorful area didn't have it that very much at all.
17,500, 26.
Yeah, the overall square footage of the web center on this campus is a little bit bigger, so that's kind of weird. That's the difference.
I got you.
Anything else? Not, Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Metal work for Smith County Middle School Wellness Center. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Second. Discussion? Not roll call. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Michaela.
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
So, yes. appointment of board member to the County Financial Management Committee. Now, what happened on that was, Mr. Lewis decided he was gonna resign from that, but after further talks, he's agreed to stay on for a while. But doing that, after he resigned, we're gonna have to have a motion and a second and a vote on it to put him back on the board as a member of the Financial Management Committee. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any more discussion? Your word out here. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Memorandum of understanding between the Smith County Sheriff's Department and the Smith County Board of Education for school resource officers for 24-25. Do I have a motion?
What, motion for sake of discussion?
Motion to discuss, okay, second?
Second.
Okay, we're in discussion.
What's the understanding between us?
It's, Robin, I reviewed it, it's the same as, right now, it should be funded fully by their grant.
Supposed to be, yes.
Yeah.
And it is funded by their grant?
Just like,
It doesn't address the grant funding, not to speak over you, Mr. Smith, but this is for the grant application, as I understand it. That's what's on the memorandum. You have to have a memorandum of understanding as far as delegation of duties. And the reason it's not in your packet is because it's not subject to, like an open records request because of the content of the document and what the delegation is. It's not something that is subject to voting. That's the reason it's not in your packet. We can discuss that in executive session. I'm happy to go over it with you, but that's why it's not in your
and a
packet.
lot of these procedures, that stuff, the way the hiring can be done, if it's dismissal and
Well,
There's a
I guess my question is, the state grant's supposed to pay for this?
Yes.
That's
That's right,
the only
correct.
question I have.
Yeah,
that's what the same issue I had, I think I want to make sure it's understood, there wasn't anything.
yeah. And it doesn't deal with the compensation piece, but you have to have a memorandum of understanding in place for the grant application.
Change my motion to approve from the
Change
state.
motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second. Any more discussion on this? If not, Mr. Jones? Yes. Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Caleb?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Manny?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Seven, yes. Now, the next thing on the agenda is a discussion on the driveways in defeated New Middleton, and the director of schools evaluations. So we're holding this discussion up. I'm gonna turn this driveway issues over to Rich Smith.
Well, I think you got two totally different issues, okay? Defeated is as much parking, they really got a massive issue parking, ball games, that, I'm a little different on as far as, and some of you disagree. There's not a place in the South that you can go. I've been in Georgia and watched schools, I've been in Kentucky, go to Jackson County. Sean Fry gets them out about. I've had state troopers out there and they can't see any way we can get any more efficient without, and you can add lanes, you can do different stuff, but a lot of your problem is people get there at 12 o'clock, and we have no control out on the roads as far as, and that's what causes the issue. It starts backing up on the roads. But, we've got some preliminary numbers. I mean, just throw that there, you're probably looking at roughly 250 to 500,000 per site. And you would at New Middleton, you're gonna have to get some political, I wouldn't say papers, but you're gonna have to get some permission. You're gonna have to get some people way higher than anybody in the county, probably TDOT. What we're talking about at Defeat is different because you're gonna do it within the campus. But if you change now, if you start going behind New Middleton, that stuff you can get by different there too. But if you start getting off the lanes and changing, you're gonna have to get into some different stuff there. And I do have some preliminary figures. I had a guy said it's not a bid, I just want you to ballpark, tell me what we're talking about. Actually, he texted, not only he didn't know you was meeting that, want me to meet with him again this week to show me some numbers and stuff.
So you just go ahead and actually kind of pursue that and see what's going on.
Everybody agree on that? In other words, any other questions?
On both or defeated?
I guess on both, don't you? Defeated
Well,
every
we're
bill.
going to table.
Is that what you want?
The next month or?
You want, Tim to get you some.
I just want Mr. Smith to look and see what we can do. I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm gonna agree with Mr. Smith. I've been to East Tennessee during school lets out. I've been to Nashville. Anywhere you go, the traffic's horrible. I mean horrible. And it usually lasts 10, 15 minutes probably. But the problem you have is, like you said, is the ones that gets there at 12:30 wants to sit out there and
But
block
I'm
everything.
gonna brag the actual efficiency of the school. You can sit out there at Sean Fry for the times about a 6-minute process. And like I said, we've had troopers, we've had other people come in us, but the problem is, they start getting there at 12 o'clock and they start lining off. But Scotty told me it took you 45 minutes to get there. Somebody told me that.
I went, after, this has been going on for a while, because, Board Member McCutcheon brought this up. When he first came on board, he brought it up again a year or so ago, looking for help on there and everything, and so I intentionally got off the interstate on there early for everything. I'm not old to do that anymore, but, 42 minutes. And the other thing that really bothers me in New Middleton, and I have to agree with Marty, that curve and twist and road and all that stuff on there is dangerous as it is. And all that flagging out there, but I timed it 42 minutes for me to get through that, and that's ridiculous. And another reason I think we ought to look at doing something over there, and heaven forbid we don't ever want to have it happen, but what fire broke out over there in the cafeteria or the old gymnasium or something, and all that set up there on the highway, how are you going to get an apparatus in there to do what it needs to do? Sit there 42 minutes.
Well,
In the simple saying, New Middleton, especially if we had state pool or perhaps you've got enough between the playground, you could go pure 2-lane and maybe 3 that distance up there and you get a lot of traffic.
If the state will allow you to do it.
You know, if we could get some help.
Get some full
Is there
political
anywhere
pull.
in that campus in New Middleton that you could put a double lane or something if you took some of the yards
I
somewhere?
think what you have to do is bring them in while we look and create a circle coming back behind the building. We looked at that if possible. Oh, right there and come back out some way.
I've just thrown that out.
You get rid of all
Did you
cars.
bring it up once before? Maybe
Yes.
circle around behind the building?
Yep, we've done that.
The neat thing for us, if we do it that way, it's gonna cost us a lot of money. If we could get state or federal help, they might see the need to pave that coming off the side, you know what I mean? The lane, their lane. But I'll get you some numbers, or maybe even get somebody to come speak. That'd be nice.
More discussions on that. Either one scope. Third thing is the records evaluation. The excellent score is 81 to 100%. I mean, 100% is excellent. He got a 81 to 100. I could write. I mean, I'm getting messed up here. 98% is what he got, which was 2 points off of excellent on the high end. Now, planning goals were 100%. Board superintendent relations was 100%. The only things that were not 100% was public relations, communications, 96%, personnel evaluations and supervision, 94%. Other than that, you ain't got anything to work on this week.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Any questions? Anybody want to slap him on the hand? Don't hit his feet, you can have a hand. Okay, annual policy reviews, I hope you got a chance to look at those for July. Next thing we do, I need a motion, we are gonna go into executive session, we have several things we need to discuss. In this executive session, and, we will ask that we keep Mr. Apple. We do not want you to leave because we have some questions for you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Make